Weedstream just dropped a banger poem, and it means a lot to me, and I really want to dissect it. It's also about autism, so uh, um, yeah, and it's 100% beef, and let's dig right into the underground music.
Only at this further development, where frequent use is made of so-called abstract concepts, language becomes an instrument of reasoning.
So the music kind of sounds empty and sad, because we'll get to why. Because later in the song, he talks about not fitting in, but I'll explain later. The music definitely captures the feeling of isolation and loneliness that comes with having autism.
In the true sense of the word. But it is also this development which turns language into a dangerous source of error and deception.
So the guy speaking in the beginning, I think he's talking about abstract thinking, where people don't think black or white. They think abstractly. They think, okay, well, outside of the box. And a lot of people with autism think outside the box. So it's a great touch to this already amazing song, I think also abstract thinking means not only thinking out of the box, but thinking on stuff that isn't there physically. I looked up what it meant. It kind of means what I'm doing now, thinking outside the box about this song and explaining this to you guys. So it's one of those things where I think it's a lot easier for me, because I have autism, to think about metaphors and analogies and stuff like that, to not see the surface level, but see the deeper meaning underneath everything. So yes, it is thinking outside the box, but that's more of a direct definition I wanted to explain.
Life is a party, and everyone is drunk, except for me, except for me.
Now, for the longest time, I thought that because I have autism, that I was dumber than everybody else, but that's not true. I realized that I'm actually, I don't mean this in an egotistical way, but people on the autism spectrum have higher IQs than people, neurotypical people. We just really struggle socially because of that. So maybe it's because we're smarter than the average person. It seems like we're dumb, and really I wouldn't say they're dumb, obviously, but people on the autism spectrum tend to be smarter. So that's what I mean no disrespect, because a lot of people are smart, but I feel like people on autism spectrum are smarter because they just think differently. They think, of course, there's low and high IQ with everything, but honestly, I got low IQ, but I still think I'm smarter. So I don't think IQ really means much. It's just something so you can get into colleges and stuff like that. So again, no disrespect meant with anything.
It seems fun at first, manipulate and be a punk.
I'm not gonna lie, having autism is really easy to manipulate people. I try not to do it. It's one of those things where it's easy once we learn social cues and stuff. With autism, we can see it a lot easier. At first, it's harder for us with communication, but as soon as we learn it, it's a lot easier to see it. So it's easier to pinpoint it and, manipulate. But obviously, I try not to manipulate. Obviously, it's one of those things. I don't like to. I'll do it if I have to in a situation, just so I can, if it benefits me, to, get out of a rough situation or get out of an awkward situation. Just one of those things. It's, I don't use it to hurt people. So that's the difference. I do it so, I'm for self-defense, if that makes sense. Anyway. Hey, I was just speaking from personal experience. Autism people can be a punk or whatever, like Skeem said, where we can take advantage of you easily. But like I said, I only do it to protect if I'm being attacked in the first place. So it's one of those things where manipulation doesn't always have to be evil. Someone could manipulate you to go hang out with them so they can give you $1 million. It's one of those things. It's not always it doesn't always have evil intent to it.
I'll tempt them to indulge their thirst, a sight to see.
I think Skeem is saying here, he tempts people that don't have autism to act foolish around him just for his own amusement. I don't do that. So, yeah, that's one thing that could happen, though. Yeah, oh boy. Skeem's getting really deep in this, and it's taking you even to the dark places of having autism. Could be it's one of those things. It's really uncomfortable talking about this and being as open as I have been, but I think y'all understand what I'm trying to say with it. So anyway.
But soon I'm bored and bring them bread, pass around water to clean their blood, but nothing will fix their clouded heads, can't sober them up, we're stuck in mud.
Seems like, okay, games are over, and then they're still acting like they were before. So Skeem tries to be nice to them and fix them up and explain, oh, I was just kidding, or whatever to them, but they don't really understand him. So I like this analogy more than the one I'm about to say, but at least I tend to give 2 analogies on Skeem videos to see which one is right. So anyway, again, this is genius, because when people that don't have autism think that autistic people are joking, sometimes they're not. So they don't understand, and then they start laughing, and this happens all the time. They start laughing and laughing, think it's a hilarious thing. I'm being dead serious. It could go the other way around, where I'm trying to tell a joke and people take it seriously. It's one of those things I'm still working on, trying to express myself better with my emotions. But yeah, anyway. It's so frustrating because I'm still working on trying to express my emotions, but this is such a great take on having autism. Never thought about it this way. I always thought of, oh, I was the one that's the one that can't understand other people socially, but it's actually that comes up later too. But this is such a great analogy of what it actually is to have autism. I always thought it was my problem, but I'm glad to understand that from this song that it's not my fault. It's a great feeling to feel, because I thought that was wrong with me for so many years. So yeah, because we see things differently on the autism spectrum, it's hard to communicate with people that aren't on the spectrum. And you try to explain to them how you think, but they don't really understand it, because they're not on the autism spectrum. That's great. That's a great analogy there. I think he's talking about like Jesus there, where it's like a little bit of extreme there, we scheme. But it's a good analogy nonetheless. That analogy makes perfect sense because Jesus was half man, half God, right? Well, of course he's Jesus. He's a God, but you know, when he was on earth, he was half man, half God. So that's the kind of great analogy to feel like, you know, you feel like you're better than other people. Like, I don't mean that in a egotistical way, but like you think better and you feel like you're half man, you feel kind of like them but not quite, and you feel kind of out of this world, like you understand them better, with like reading verbal cues. Like I says, or if I didn't say this, I'm saying this now. Sometimes with autism, if you're having a bad day, it's hard to read verbal cues. That's just for me, but anyway, it's like you kind of feel like you're you know, you're more powerful. You understand things that other people don't. AKA Jesus understood a lot more than the people around him, his disciples and stuff. So that was a fantastic metaphor. That's wow. That's that's one of the greatest metaphors I ever heard, for real.
So I try to join and take a glass, but feel no change as hours pass.
But what I said earlier though, that's when you break bread, when that's the Last Supper he's referencing. But Skeem's also talking about, so he tries to join and try to, you know, try to be normal and try to think like they do so they can fit in, because it's lonely being, you know, smarter than the average person. It's lonely because you feel like you're the only one that thinks that way, and you feel so alone, and just trying to communicate with people and how you think and trying to understand where they're coming from too. It's definitely a disconnect there.
I'm stuck forever with a sober brain.
That's a good analogy there, sober brain, aka a clearer head. And I'm not saying like this isn't for every case. Like, I'm sure there's people that are smarter than me that aren't autistic, and I'm sure there's people, autistic people that aren't as smart as people that are regular. Some autistic people that aren't as smart as regular people. It's just, like I said, autism tends to have higher IQ. That's what I'm trying to say. Autism tends to be, we think differently. We think, so in a good way. So that's what I'm saying. It's just not every case is like that. But anyway.
Being told by drunkards that I'm insane, even when they hold more knowledge than I can prove them wrong and I barely try.
That's so true. It's because people that aren't on autism spectrum say that I'm not insane, but that they think that, you know, some of them anyway think that I'm the dumb one, but really it's I'm not saying they're dumb, but I tend to be smarter than some people, you know. Like I said, I'm not smarter than everyone. I'm not trying to put myself on the pedestal. I'm talking general speaking, like I said earlier, but yeah.
Because life is a party, and everyone is intoxicated. To be sober is to be berated.
And it's so true that the people of this world tell us autistic people to think and act like quote unquote normal people, but when we're the ones that just, you know, we think differently, and sometimes even in a better way. So why it's always the universe trying to tell us to to dumb down our intelligence. You know, it's one of those things. It's, again, there's a lot of smart people that aren't autistic, but like I said, I don't think I have to keep saying it. My anxiety is telling me to keep saying it, so just so no one's upset when I try to explain it to people.
A few of the drunkards know this too, but they're too lost to help my plight. But they tell me what I'm saying is true.
Okay, these are the people that have an idea of what autism is, and they kind of get it, but they don't go through it, so they don't 100% know what it's like. Wow. That's brilliant, man. This is brilliant. Brilliant poem, man. I'm getting emotional. No one understands me more than your songs with autism, we Skeem. Wow.
But it's best to be quiet and enjoy the night. But it's hard to pretend that I'm drunk like they are.
Do you know how painful it is to have autism and not be able to do what people ask you to do? You know how painful that is? That is an analogy. Normal people are saying to people with autism, oh, just be normal, just be normal. But it's just so hard to, because there's some things that people with autism struggle with more, like I said, socially, but also it's hard for us to hold down jobs. Just there's a whole spectrum, so it's just dependent on the person that has autism, but we tend to struggle with holding down a career and relationships and connecting, it's connecting with friends, and it's an everyday struggle. It's not something that ever goes away. It's just something we just try, but some things we'll just never succeed at. We'll never, just, I guess it's depending, yeah, it is depending on the person, but just personally, I think there's just some things I will never be able to do because of my autism. And people don't understand that. They're just like, do it, why? And then we get called lazy, we get called weird, we get called so many things that dumb. It's just, it's not fair to us. It's not. And this world is not designed to help people that have autism. It's not. You'd think in 2021 they'd solve to help people with autism to live normally, but no. And it's like, sometimes it's like, why would I want to do that in the first place and like be so emotional about it to begin with? It's just one of those things. It's like, and I don't look autistic, so I get that all the time. What does autism really look like? I mean, obviously, there's people that really struggle with it, that have trouble talking and are in diapers and stuff. But for me, it's like people wouldn't know. So I'm treated like someone that doesn't have it, and I'm constantly compared to these people that I can't do what they can, and people just don't understand me. This song understands me so much. Getting really emotional, but that's what great music does.
But if I don't, I get violent scars. And when I meet other sober men new, they tell me it's best to fake being drunk too.
That's the most frustrating part, when you're trying to act normal, and then people that act like yourself, like having autism, and then other autistic people are trying to act like they don't have autism, and it makes it harder for autism awareness to spread, because they look like, autism's not a big deal, and it keeps the stigma on it. It's crazy to think. This is such a great analogy. I love this poem. Skeem said he wrote this in college, so that's cool. And a professor, I think, helped him. It's in the description of the video. Yeah, interest in my future when discovered. They use analogy. Yeah, they use that analogy in college, the professors. Silver mine in a world of drunks. So yeah, it's interesting where he came with that inspiration from.
Life is a party, and everyone's wasted, especially me.
So this has a different meaning to it. He's taking it on himself, thinking he's what's wrong with himself. Again, at the beginning, he was directing it, saying, well, I'm smarter than everybody else, but he's starting to doubt it. Especially with the music tone, it seems like it's getting more sad. So that would make more sense if he blamed it on himself than others. That would be more sad, or to call for that type of music. But that's what autistic people tend to have. They tend to like just, blame it on themselves, the way they think, or the way they are. So everyone's wasted, especially me. So you get told so long that you're dumb that you start to think it, So that's one of those cases. I think Skeem just kind of got mentally drained and started hearing everyone say he's dumb, and then just took it out on him, and he feels more wasted or more drunk than everyone else there. That's what wasted means. But also, wasted also can mean hopeless, like wasted potential, like because I'm sure the people that aren't autistic are gonna fit just fine, like easier at least. This world's hard to begin with, but they're gonna fit in a lot easier in the world, and I feel like the autistic people are gonna have the most harder time adapting. So that's kind of what wasted means. I think like it means wasted, like what's wrong with me. He kind of said that in his pinned chat here. So he said, yeah, Skeem said wasted potential. So so like kind of like I was saying, but yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Especially me. Life is a party, and everyone's wasted, especially me. Especially me.
Is there no thinking without the use of language? Has not every one of us struggled for words, although the connection between things was already clear? Perfections of mean and confusion of goals seem, in my opinion, to characterize our age.
I think the man saying, the guy from earlier in the start of the video that's sampled here, he's saying that everyone judges himself by their career or their relationship or worldly stuff, how much money they have. I think that's what he's saying. It's a little harder to hear his accent, so but I think that's what he's saying, because that's so true. I think people, even though that stuff is important to an extent, everyone has to eat, everyone needs, everyone gets lonely, everyone just, yeah, but you can't define yourself by those traits, and so many people nowadays do that. I think that's what he's saying. My apologies if that's not what he's saying, and I'm trying to get this video out right now. I gotta do some stuff today, so something I point out, the beat is a dread, like the I just heard the beat, it feels like dreadful, with some other stuff in there that kind of is like worry, like the or whatever, or whatever it was. If you heard it, you'll understand. Like it worry, dread, and loneliness. That you'll never be normal, or no one will understand you that are normal. Both ways. That's brilliant storytelling with music.
Life is a party, and everybody's wasted, especially me.
This part is beautiful. The lyrics are beautiful. The music's beautiful. Oh, I love this part. Oh, just hear his pain with this. Wow. It's giving me goosebumps. I think that part of the song was when he started to actually believe. I think he started saying that when other people were telling him, but he didn't believe it fully. But at the end, he's like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. So that was great all around.
Grammarly can.
So, yeah, I'll let the ad play out so he gets ad revenue. I muted it, but anyway, I just love the meaning to it with having autism. It's so cool to see someone speak on these issues that completely understands what it's like. And again, I don't mean to, like, you know, everyone is smart in their own way, but people with autism, if they're interested in something, they'll go many lengths to find out about that certain thing. And us people that have autism, we don't understand at all with communication, so we learn so much about communication that we end up becoming more socially aware than a lot of other people are. And that's, you know, so I still struggle with social cues, but when I'm on top of things, I can read people's mind, facial expressions, and body language a lot better than a lot of other people. So, anyway, I love the song. Please go subscribe to Skeem. The link is in the description. I'd love it if you would, if you're new, to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed. That would mean a lot and help out. Again, please go check out Skeem. Link in the description to his channel. He has so much talent. And I'm so glad there's someone that understands what having autism is like. I can't stress that enough. There's not many artists talking about it right now. So I really appreciate that, Skeem. I really do. And I'll see you when you watch me again, metaphorically.